Okay, so hey guys, today we're gonna be ranking every single map in survival disasters in Minecraft. So as you can see, I have every single map right here. There are 49 maps in total, and we're gonna rank them based on like playability, how hard the keys are to obtain, and how difficult the map is like to survive in its general layout. Okay, so starting off on our list, we have the basic field. Now, this is obviously a F tier because this map is basically very flat. The only high structures are the house and like the tower, and so it's a map that gets very destroyed very quickly. So it's not a good map. So flimsy field, definitely F tier. Okay, so now we got the birch forest. Now the birch forest is a pretty good map because it has some pretty high terrain. So I'm gonna rank it at like a A tier, or actually no, a B tier, because it's not the best. It has a lot of trees, which means that if you have like a lava disaster, then all the trees get burnt. So, and it also gets pretty destroyed very quickly. And then we got lousy logs. Now lousy logs is another one of these tree maps, which this one has less trees, but they're taller. And the map is generally quite flat, so once the trees burn, there's nowhere to stand. So that's kind of like a low C tier. Okay, then we got the desert map. Now the desert map has a pretty good like mesa part where you can kind of stand on it, which is made of terracotta, which is pretty strong. The sand does break quickly, so I'm gonna put it at like a B tier. Okay, so then we got the snow map. Now the snow map is really bad. It's got like this cute little cave with the Christmas tree which you can stand on, but the snow gets destroyed very quickly, so I'm gonna put that at a D tier because it gets destroyed very quickly. Then we got the cherry gardens. Now the cherry gardens is a visually nice map because it got pink trees and it's got like a cool pagoda which you can stand on, so it's pretty decent. Unfortunately, the pagoda is made of wood and the cherry trees burn, which means that if there's a fire disaster, everything burns. So I'm gonna put it at like a C tier. Okay, so then we got the jungle map. Now the jungle map is very hard to navigate. It's got many trees, but the other advantage is the fact that you can climb the trees, which means that if there's a flood, you can like survive. So that's a pretty good advantage, but it does lag a lot when there's a lot of like fire because the trees burn. So I would say that it's technically less. Actually, I guess it's slightly better than the desert. Actually, I guess it's better than birch forest as well. Okay, so then we got the savannah map. Now, the savannah map actually is a decent map, but it doesn't have a lot of elevation. It's got some trees which you can stand on. It's got that cool little tower, but other than that, it got like a little cave which you can kind of hide in. It's not the best map in terms of survivability, but it is better than the snow map. So I'm gonna put it at a D tier. Then we got the swamp biome. Now the swamp map is very good because since there's a lot of trees, the disasters get really confused. So I'm going to put that at A tier, but the other disadvantage of this map is that it's very easy to get lost in. But it's definitely better than the jungle map. Okay, so then the mushroom map. Now the mushroom map is quite basic. You can jump on the mushrooms, which is kind of cool. The mycelium gets destroyed pretty quickly, so I wouldn't say that's very good. Now, I would say that this map is probably better than the snow map, only by like a little bit. Now, the savannah is still better than the mushroom map. Okay, so then we got the crimson map. Now, this map is actually really good because it has the nether fortress, which you can stand on, and it's made of straight bricks. And the trees don't burn, which is a nice advantage compared to the other maps. So I'm going to put this at an A tier because it has a pretty good structure which you can hide in, and it's got good elevation. Then we got the red volcano map. Now this map is kind of basic. It's not the best map. It's got brown terracotta, it's got lava, it's got fire, volcanoes. It got 2 points of elevation, the two volcanoes, but once those things get destroyed, it's kind of hard to survive. Now I would say that it's probably it's probably like a D tier. Or is it better than the cherry blossom map? No, I think it's D tier. The savannah map is better than this one. And then the blue version, it's basically the same thing. I prefer the red version, so I'll put this one over here. And then we got the basaltic basalt map. This one's another lava themed map. Now, this one is technically better than the other lava map because of the fact that the basalt is stronger than the terracotta. But the other disadvantage is the fact that it has magma, which can hurt you. So that makes it objectively worse. So I would say that it'd probably go like over here, right? Then we got the celestial clouds. Now this map is really cool because it has little platforms which you can jump on the clouds. So in terms of elevation, it's really good to survive floods and rising lava. But It's a relatively flat map with not many structures, but it's still pretty good if you want elevation. So I would say it's like slightly, actually no, the cherry blossom map is still better. Then we got the severe storm. Now this map is basically the contrast of the celestial clouds, but instead it has a thunderstorm. Now just because I think this one looks visually more interesting, I'd say it's probably better. So I'd put this at like a C tier. Or actually no, I'd put this at like a B tier. It's a pretty cool map. Then we got the moon map. Now the moon map is relatively kind of flat, so it does have the asteroids which you can stand on, but other than that it's also quite dark, so you can't really see very well. So I'm gonna put this at like a D tier. It's not the best map. Now is it better? I would say that like this is technically better than the snow map, but okay. So then we got the haunted mansion. Now the haunted mansion is obviously a really good map because the mansion is really strong. It's made of really good bricks and it's on top of a hill, which means that if you have to survive rising flood disasters, you can stand on the house and you're basically safe. And for most of the time, the house never gets, well, it gets destroyed, but it's a really good structure. So I put this at like a high A tier. Then we got the city map. Now the city map is another really good map because the buildings are really high, which means you can survive floods and everything like that, and you can hide inside the buildings. Now the only downside of this is the fact that the trees can burn, which could cause fire, and also the inside of the houses have like planks, like wooden floors, which means that if there's rising lava, you can actually fall through the floors. So because of that, it's still an A tier, but it's this one's still better. And then we got the ruined city map. Now this one's obviously worse, but it's still better than this one. Actually no, it's worse. It's worse than this one. So yeah. Then we got the skulk map. Now this map does have a very special item which lets you heal yourself, which is obviously really good because it literally lets you take so much damage. So because of that item alone, we're basing it based on aesthetic and survivability. This map has some pretty good, it has like these two towers which you can stand on, and they're made of pretty strong materials. It's pretty decent, but it's not as good as like the city map. So I'd put it at a high A tier, but not as good as the city map or the haunted map. Then we got Drippy Dripstones. Now Drippy Dripstones is a very dark map. You can't really see very well, but the only advantage of this map is the fact that because of the fact that there's a lot of dripstone, the mobs get stuck. So because of that, I'm going to put it at like a high B tier. Then we got the Sand Hill Zone. Now this map is kind of basic. It's not the worst map, but I would say that it's decent for surviving. It's got some pretty high structures. If you have a gravity coil, you can jump to the structures. I'd say I'd put this at like a B tier. Actually, no, it's better than the desert map, but it's not as good because the wool burns and it gets pretty destroyed because it's quite flat. Then we got Green Hill Zone, which is kind of similar to this one. Now, I would say that this is probably like a good map. It has less elevation than Sand Hill Zone, so because of that, I think it's slightly worse. I'd say I'd put this one at a C tier. I think, actually no, this map's technically a little bit better than the Woods map. Actually, this one's probably actually better. Yeah. Okay, so then we got the Candy map. Now this map looks visually really nice. And it's got lots of points of elevation, like the lollipops, the canyons, and everything like that. And the only disadvantage is that because the ground is made of concrete powder, it gets destroyed very easily. And also the water turns the concrete powder into concrete. But overall, it's a pretty good map. I'm going to put this one at a B tier. It's definitely better. Actually, it's not better than Jungle. It's good, but it also allows you to unlock that secret in the facility, which is very nice because it gives you the pink key, the purple key, and the magenta key. So that's pretty good. Actually, I'd say it's better than the Jungle map. Actually, no, the Jungle map's technically better. Okay, so now we got the Copper map. Now this map is visually very interesting because it's using the copper grates, which is new in 1.21. And this map is made of copper, so it's very strong. So it's got good blast resistance. It's got like some protection with the roof sections. It's got lots of sections where you can like climb, and it has like little platforms. I'd put this one at A tier. It's not better than the Haunted House map, but it's definitely a good map. Then we got the Idiocratic Industry. Now this map is not very good because it's very loud, so that's a downside. Now the upside is that the ground is made of netherite blocks, so it's very strong. I would say that compared to KG Copper, it's not as good because it gets destroyed quicker. So I think it's still like A tier, but it's not as good as KG Copper. Actually no, because of the sounds, I'm gonna put it back. I'm gonna put it down to C tier. because those sounds are just really annoying. I'm gonna put like here. And then we got the casual construction. Now this map is kind of good, but because the scaffoldings are made of wood, it burns very quickly. It's got the cranes which you can stand on, which is kind of unique, but it's not that good to survive on. I mean, it's got the high structures. I would say it's technically better than like this map, but just not by much. Then we got the acid depths. Now this map is very dark. It's very, very dark. So that's already going to give it like negative points. And another thing is that it doesn't have very high structures that you can easily access. So I'm going to put that at D tier. I'm going to put like, it's technically like over here. It's better than the mushroom map because the black stone is stronger, but it's harder to navigate. Then we get the beach map. Now the beach map is relatively flat. It's got like the lighthouse, which is the only point of elevation. So I'd say like, it's quite flat. I would say this is probably like a D tier. I mean, it's better than the snow map, but not by much. So I'm gonna put it like here. Then we got the mountain map. Now the mountain map is really good because it has a lot of elevation, which you can hide, and it has like the little alcove which you can kind of hide in. So I'm gonna put that at A tier. Is it better than KG cover? It is, because it's easier to hide. Actually, it's better than the haunted house map as well, because the stone is more blast resistant, and you can kind of hide in that little alcove. Then we got the farm map. Now the farm map is quite flat. It's got like a red barn, and it's got like a field of wheat, which is decent, but it's a relatively flat map, so it gets destroyed very quickly. So I'm gonna put that at like a C tier. And we got the underwater map. Now the underwater map has a lot of sounds going on. It has these two shipwrecks which are kind of unique, I guess. It's got lots of like these seaweed structures which burn very quickly, so that's not a good map. In terms of survivability, it's very difficult to navigate because of all the seaweeds, so I'm going to put it at like a D tier. It's technically better than the snow map, but not by much. Then we got the illogical ice caves. Now this map is full of ice. The ice breaks quite quickly. It's very difficult to navigate because the ice makes you like slide around everywhere, and it's relatively flat. So I would say that this is probably like worse than the underwater map. Then we got the warped forest. Now the warped forest is actually decently pretty good. It's not as good as the crimson forest, but because it doesn't have the structure, but it's pretty good because of the vines which you can climb. So I would say that it's like a solid B tier. Probably not as good as the jungle map. I'm gonna say it's probably better than like the birch forest. Then we got the end map. Now the end map has end stone, which is pretty strong. I'm gonna put that like at a solid A tier because of the end stone. Now it is a bit difficult to navigate because it's quite dark, so I'm gonna put that at like a high B tier. Actually no, maybe not. It's like, it's technically, no, it's better than the dripstone cave. Yeah. Then we got the wacky warehouse. Now this map's pretty cool actually, but it's relatively flat. It's got like some containers which you can jump on. It's got cranes. It's pretty good if you have a gravity coil. But if you don't have a gravity coil, it's very difficult to navigate. So I'm going to put that like at a high C tier. Then we got the castle walls. Now this map is really good because you can climb the castle walls, and then when you're up here, you're basically invulnerable from all disasters. So immediately that puts it at S tier. It's a really good map for that because of the giant bridge, which you can basically, like, it's pretty strong. Although if the tower gets destroyed, then you can't get up. But it's got pretty good walls. Then we got the wooden world. Now this map's definitely an F tier because the whole map burns. Like it's not. I mean, it's better than the field. Like, don't get me wrong, but the whole map burns. Like if there's a single fire disaster, the entire map is gone. Like it's got a tower which you can kind of survive on, but as long as there's fire, it's gone. Now the deserted base is a pretty good map. It's got these two little watchtowers which are kind of cool. Now I would say that in terms of survivability, it's decent. It's got like regeneration potions inside the little health tent, so that's pretty good. I would say that it's probably like a solid B tier, probably better than the Drippy Dripstone cave. Then we got the Resental Ruins. This map is relatively flat. It does have a lot of enchanted golden apples, but Okay, so moving on, we got the Resentful Ruins. The Resentful Ruins is pretty flat. It's made of sandstone, so it breaks quite quickly. I'm gonna put that at like a D tier because of that fact. Now, is it better than the Silly Savannah? Yes, it is. Okay, we got the Jagged Junkyard. Now, Jagged Junkyard is kind of a messy map. It's not the worst map, but it's got its redeeming qualities. Now, it is raining. It's got like quite a lot of little spots to hide in. In terms of elevation, it's not very good. So because of that, I'm gonna put it at like a D tier. It's technically better than like the underwater map, and the moon map, and the beach map. Yeah, actually, it's probably like here. And then we got the racing map. Now, the racing map is quite flat, which is not really good for surviving floods. It's got a cool design because of the fact that there's like little bikes racing around the track. But because there's no cars, it's kind of a bad map. I'm gonna put that at D tier. It's definitely, I'd say the snow map. Actually, it's technically better than the snow map. Okay, so moving on, we got the Radical Roller Coaster. Now, this map is really cool because the roller coaster serves as a really good high point to survive from floods. The only disadvantage is because of the fact that the roller coaster is made of wood, it burns very quickly. So, because of the roller coaster, I'm gonna put it at S tier. It's not better than like the walls, because the walls doesn't burn, but this burns. So if there's a fire disaster, the roller coaster breaks. But it's still really good because of the fact that it's very high, and it got a cool functional roller coaster. Okay, so we got the Neon City. Now, the Neon City is a visually cool map. It's got lots of high points, which you can survive on. And it's got like a lot of buildings to hide in, which is really useful for disasters. And it's got lots of high points, as said before. And it's visually quite unique because it's like a nighttime city. So I would say it's probably an S tier. It's technically better than the roller coaster because there's no wood, so nothing can burn in this map. But the walls is still better. Okay, Gloomvale. Gloomvale is kind of a dark map with like trees. It's kind of like, it burns quite quickly because of the trees, obviously. It's got several high points because you can like jump on the plants and the trees. I would say this one's pretty good. I would say it's probably like better than this map. Actually, no, this one's probably like worse. I would say I'd put it at like low A tier. Okay, so then we got Radical Rainbow. Now, I know that I'm gay and I like rainbows and stuff, but like this map is kind of boring. It's just rainbows. And the ground is made of glass, which means that it's very destructive and the rainbow burns. So because of that, I'm going to have to put that at F tier. It's technically better than the Wooden World. Actually, no, the Wooden World is better because it has more structures. That's an F tier. Okay, the Badlands map is really good because it's got like these two like mesas which you can stand on. It's got like a wooden bridge which you can go across the two canyons. So because of that, I'm gonna put it at a pretty good A tier. It's probably not as good as Mountain, but it's pretty good. Then we got the Plastic Palace. Now this map is pretty decent at survival. It's got like several high points that you can stand on. It's overall pretty good map. It's pretty colorful as well. I'd put that at like a high C tier, probably. Probably better than, actually no, Wacky Warehouse. I would say it's worse than Wacky Warehouse. Wacky Warehouse is better. And yeah, that's my entire ranking of all the maps and survival disasters in Minecraft. I hope you guys enjoyed.